24-Hour Boss Podcast, episode 002. Today we're going to be talking about your biggest hurdle in business. Now, this is the biggest obstacle you will face regarding business, and it has nothing to do with technology and nothing to do with social media marketing. Hello, and welcome to the 24-Hour Boss Jumpstart Podcast. This is the show where we inspire individuals with knowledge and give them the tools they need to help them start an online business or side hustle. You ready to dive into it? Let's talk about it. This is Brian Hill of 24-Hour Boss, and today we want to talk about your biggest hurdle in business. This is the biggest obstacle you will probably face in business. And so we're going to just go ahead and dive right into this. All right, so in regard to your biggest hurdle in business, what would you say if someone were to ask you, what is your greatest obstacle that you face as a business owner, or if you're somebody that's thinking about getting into business, what would you be able to answer, or what would you say is your biggest hurdle or your biggest obstacle? Maybe it's that you lack business skills. Maybe, maybe you feel that you're not as sound in leadership, maybe, or financially, maybe you don't know how to, as far as the accounting part of business, maybe you feel that, you're not as skilled in regards to accounting, or maybe it's some type of technical skill. Maybe you feel like I don't know much about social media marketing, or how to even market my business, or email marketing. Or maybe it's that you lack communication skills, that's a pretty big obstacle, communication skills, because you got to be able to convey your message to your clients or your customers, so you have to be able to do that. But I would say that none of those would be your biggest hurdle. As a matter of fact, those that I just listed, you can learn those. You can pick those skills up. You can learn social media marketing. Actually, you could pay someone to do that. You may not want to, but that's something that can be tackled. As far as leadership, those are things you can learn. Even accounting, those are things you can pick up. Those are things you can learn. Like I say, in regard to communication, that's something that, that's a big hurdle. That's something you have to get over. But I wouldn't say that those are your biggest hurdles. And so what then would be the greatest or the biggest hurdle in business? So in my mind, I'm thinking that the greatest hurdle or the biggest obstacle that you will face in business is you. That's who it is. It's you. You are the biggest hurdle that you will face in business, because if you think about it, if you don't put your mind to whatever it is that you want to do, you won't do it. If you think about exercise, lots of times, many of us, we know we need to exercise, but many times we don't have the mind to do it. It could be other goals or other aspirations that we have or that we need to do. And if our mind is not focused or not set to do it, guess what? We're not going to do it. And so when it comes to business, the biggest hurdle that you're going to face, if you're somebody that's looking to start a business, or maybe you're on this site and you're really interested in online marketing, and you see people are doing online marketing and all of these type of things, and you say, man, I really wish I could do that. And you really can. But guess what? If you don't put your mind to it, if you don't get over, as I like to say, if you don't get over yourself, then you're not going to reach the success that you want to reach. And that's why I'm saying that you are basically the greatest hurdle that you will face in business, because if you don't put your mind to it, if you don't focus, then you're not going to be very successful in business. And trust me, you can do anything that you want to do. You are just as great as anybody else. You are just as talented, but it just comes down to you and your mindset. So too often, when we have new aspirations or goals, even in life or in business, you know what we do? We procrastinate. That's a hurdle. We keep putting things off. we don't put in the necessary time. A big one that we do is we get involved in time wasting activities, and I'll list two of them: TV and social media. A lot of times, you can get stuck, caught watching episode after episode after episode on TV series, and they just go back to back to back to back. And of course, with all of these services, streaming services that are now just easily accessible, even on our phones, it's so easy to get caught up in those things. But what about your aspirations? What about your goals? You can spend so much time on TV that you don't exercise. You got other things that you want to do. Maybe you got school that you're in, or you got all these other things you got going on, but you have these time wasting activities that are basically just draining all of your time. And you know what? There's plenty of things we can do outside of that. Social media, that's another time wasting activity. I think there's like an average time of 38 minutes that people spend on social media. Do you know what you can do in 38 minutes? You can work out. You can watch videos of learning how to do various things. But if you think about that, there is plenty of things that you can do in that time. I mean, in the time it takes to watch a whole season of a TV show, imagine the things that you could get done. And so I'm just listening. This is just a time wasting activity. Many times we have negative thoughts. We're too critical of ourselves. We think that, I'm not good enough, or we doubt our abilities, when this is certainly not the case. Another big thing that we do is that we listen to negative people. They tell us, they dictate. Well, if you present your idea to somebody, they may say, nah, that's not a good idea, or they'll say, yeah, I knew somebody that tried to do that and it didn't work out for them. So that's another hinder that keeps us, or it's a setback where, we listen to negative people, negative thoughts, and you know what it does? It trains our mind to say, well, maybe that's not what I need to do. But you gotta get away from those type of people and those type of thoughts. We also compare ourselves to others. We see other people that may be successful and say, man, they're really successful. I wish I could do that. You can, but that's a thing that we do. We compare ourselves. Another big obstacle or hurdle, one of the biggest, is fear. A lot of times fear keeps us from taking the next step. Fear basically paralyzes us, and it just has us immobile, where we stop researching, we stop seeking, we stop going after our goals, and basically it just leads to more procrastination. So these are things that we have to get away from. And so, because we are our biggest hurdle, so how can we stop? How can we change? How can we get away from allowing ourselves to be our biggest hurdle? So one thing we have to do is we have to change our mindsets and our routines. There's a saying that says, old habits die hard. Basically, that's just saying it's hard to quit old habits. When we're just used to doing the same old thing, we continue to do the same old thing. And so what we have to do is we have to get focused. We have to get our minds focused. And like I said, that's where everything starts. It starts with your mind. And so if you want to start a business, if you want to start an online business, if you want to try to get that side hustle going, guess what? You got to get focused. You got to get your mind right. And so you can't expect different results doing the same thing. So like I said, the first thing that we have to do is we have to get our mindset. We have to get control of our mind. The second thing, or one of the next things we need to do, is we need to educate our mind. That means we got to start feeding ourselves with good knowledge. Whatever information you lack, or whatever area you lack in, then you got to start to research and start feeding your mind with those things. Removing those distractions and start feeding yourself with this new knowledge, or this new business information, which is the next thing, removing distractions. Like I said, hey, spending less time on TV, spending less time on social media, because those are things that they can just have you just stuck doing nothing. So that's just a distraction. Of course, of course we watch TV. We go to social media. Social media has its purpose. But if you have some goals and some things that you want to pursue, then you got to look for ways to get out of those old habits. And I just know that those two things are things that just have us stuck. You know, you can spend so much time just scrolling through other people's lives and looking at all of what they're doing, but then you got to consider, what am I doing about my own life? And so that's all I'm saying, is that you got to try to remove these distractions. So here's another thing that we can do. Like I said, you got to change your mindset and change your routines. Here's one thing you can do. You can start getting up early. That's something that you got to do. That's something that I'm still working on, of course. But getting up early, that changes your routine. That changes everything that you're doing, because, you know, we're so used to just sleeping in late, laying around, you know, which it's okay if you need sleep. But sometimes sleeping really late, you know, the day is just about already gone from us. There's a video of Steve Harvey, and he talks about rich people. He says in this video, he says, rich people don't sleep in late. He said, basically, if you're sleeping into 11 o'clock in California on the East Coast, it's already like 1 o'clock. So that day, people are already making decisions about your life at 1 o'clock. So you got to really think about, you know, the decisions and the things that you're doing. And so we're not going to be able to just lay around and sleep. Like I said, if you need sleep, you need to get it. But to just be laying around or to sleep to make you lazy, that's something else. That's just something that's wasting time. The other thing we can do is start to read books, start to read magazines. You know, you got to start reading business books. You got to start feeding your mind with different information, listening to podcasts, watching videos, going to seminars. All of these things are things that'll get you energized and change your mindset, feed you new knowledge, and try to get you out of the same old routine. Another thing we can do is we can connect with people that maybe are in your niche, like whatever business you're in, or whatever business field you're in. You can start trying to connect with people on social media that are in that, because lots of times they give out ideas and different information. So that's another way for you to receive good new information. Another thing we can do, which is a big thing, is we got to get away from negative and toxic people, whether it's friends, families. We got to get away from that, because like I said, a lot of times these people will zap the very positive energy out of you. So you got to get away from negative people, those that downplay your ideas. You know, a lot of times people will discredit your idea, but then they can turn around and take your idea and try to make it work for them. So you got to get away from negative people, and everybody you can't present your idea to. So a lot of times you just have to keep it hush hush. So that's just a way to remain focused and to remain positive, because everybody won't accept your idea. So that's something you got to understand, and just something you got to know, that, hey, you know what? I got this great business idea. I got this, I got that. But everybody you can't present that to, because sometimes people have a negative response. So that's one thing you got to do, is you got to get away from negative people, because, you know, you just got to go after what you know is right for you to do. And so negative people, they hinder your progress. And so what you got to understand too is that they don't control your destiny. And so you control your own destiny. And that's something that you just have to keep in mind. Here's something else you can do. You got to find good people to connect with, good positive people. So there could be business owners that are near you that have started a business. You know, you could always go to them and ask them questions. A lot of times they would love to answer your questions. So if you have somebody that you know that's in business, or that's trying to do, that's in a business maybe that you're trying to do, you could, hey, send them an email, or even go to their business and just talk to them. And I'm pretty sure that they will be likely glad to share that information with you. You can also find people online that you can connect to or follow. Like I said, these people give out great advice sometimes, great information. And so that's just another resource to kind of educate you and to help you to you know, just feed your mind with good and new information. Another great resource is the Small Business Association. So that's at SBA.gov. That's a great resource for small business. They have all types of information on their site to help you with business, with marketing, with promotion, with starting a business, business plan, all of it. It's on their website. So that's a great resource for starting a business or whatever type of business you're trying to do. They are a great resource. Another thing you can do is find a mentor. And so sometimes mentors can be expensive. But like I said, there's a lot of people online that you can follow for free. There's people like LinkedIn and Instagram. Like I said, they give out free advice. You could also sign up for different groups, like on LinkedIn or on Facebook. You can sign up for these business groups. And many times they give out good information and free advice just for you being in their groups. There's magazines like Entrepreneur and Inc. magazine. All of these resources have great insight for business. Here is a free site that you can get a free mentor. It's a great resource, and they also provide great business advice and help for whatever questions and whatever aspects you have in business. And that's score.org. Score.org is a great resource. They have tons of information online, and you can also find a mentor at no cost on their site. I don't know if a lot of people know that, but score.org, I've used it before. They provide great information. And like I said, not only that, you can get a mentor, a business mentor for free. They have people that are in business that are mentors that will give you free advice on whatever question you have in business. So keep that in mind. Score.org is a great resource for whatever questions or whatever information you need in business. And so what we must keep in mind is that when it comes to our greatest hurdle in business, it comes down to us. It comes down to our mindset. You control your own destiny. You control your own destiny. A lot of us have plenty of talents that we're basically just sitting on. We are very talented. Like I said, you are just as smart. You are just as talented as anybody else out there. You're just as smart. Many times, some of these things can make us uncomfortable. So, yes, we have to get out of our comfort zone. This is something that, of course, I had to work on. I'm a natural introvert, but even doing this podcast, this is something that is not in my comfort zone. But I feel that it's something that I can do. Not only that, I feel like I can help someone. And so, as I said in our first episode, if I can do this, you can do this. So, you are just as smart, you're just as talented as anyone else. And so that's what you have to believe. Like I said, you basically control your own destiny, and it comes down to mindset. You have to believe in yourself and your abilities. And so if you can do those things, if you can keep these things in mind, you will be successful in business. But like I said, it all comes down to you. So once you get over yourself, once you realize that, hey, you know what, I'm in control of my own destiny. And if you put your mind to it, you'll be able to reach whatever goals that you want to reach in business. Yes, you can start a side hustle. Yes, you can start an online business. You can start whatever business you want to start. There's plenty of people that are starting businesses right now. And so, yes, it may take some time. It may take some research, but you can do it. So it all comes down to your mindset. So the question is, are you going to stick with your same old routines of doing the same old? Or are you going to pursue your goals and dreams and go after that business or that side hustle? So just keep that in mind. I'll leave you with this quote. And this is from Tony Gaskin's book, The Dream Chaser. It's actually the title of his book. But I think it's great, and it makes a lot of sense. And it resonated with me when I saw this for the first time some years ago. And so Tony Gaskin's book called The Dream Chaser, he states, if you don't build your dreams, someone will hire you to help build theirs. Think about that. If you don't build your dream, someone will hire you to help build theirs. So that just is another proof or evidence that it basically comes down to you. It basically comes down to your mindset. So you can do this. You just have to put your mind to it. So I hope this episode has encouraged you to think about yourself and to think about maybe what you can do, your talents, and to let you realize and know that you're just as great and talented as anybody else. And so, yes, you can do whatever you want to do. You are in control of that. And so, hope you enjoyed this episode. I really appreciate you listening in. Please share our site with your friends and those that you know in business. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at 24 Hour Boss. Thanks for tuning in, and go start that side hustle. We'll see you on the next episode. Thanks for visiting the 24 Hour Boss Jumpstart podcast. Be sure to visit our site at www.24hrboss.com to be inspired, to learn, and start a side hustle.